Hello, I'm very welcome. I want to teach you to, let me use expose you to what you must avoid, the things that have made many students to lose a lot of marks in physics practical. If you're able to avoid all these and the other ones I'm going to give you, you'll be sure of everything. So I decided to give you these things which you may not be able to get from other sources. Alright, look at this. The final marking scheme. These are the things that examiners will use in marking your results, your table, your graph, and other things, and other questions in the physics practical. So I've decided to give you these ones. Then if time permits, I will read other ones from the source. Now, final marking scheme, maximum marks obtainable is 50 marks. In these 50 marks, you have 2 questions. You will be given 3 questions to answer to. So each of them has 25 marks, maximum of 25 marks. And these 25 marks will be on observation, your graph, your table, your graph, and other questions like the precautions. Right? So these are the things that will make up these 25 marks for one question. So when you are doing answering any of the questions, you should be very careful, because if you are not careful with these notes given here and the other ones I will give you, it means at the end of the day, out of these 25 marks, you end up having, after making all efforts and saying, we did it well, I did it well, you end up having 10 marks, because we are going to see a lot of deductions that may be made here. So and there was a lesson I had here which I taught students how to make good table and plot graphs. So check my previous videos, Waec physics practical, tables and graph. So you will see it there. So now, general notes. Be very, very careful as a teacher and as a student. Now, penalties earned under one subheading are not transferable if no marks are earned in that section. Like if you are answering question number 1, if you did not make any mark here, the penalties that, or whatever you may have done that made the person to score even minus 1, having scored nothing here, and yet committed errors here. So it is not transferable to the next question. That is question number 2. That is this one done. So this is an instruction given to examiners. That is those that mark your scripts. Alright. So now number 2 says wrong or missing units. Wrong units or missing units. I gave in that table. Let me see how I can clean part of it so that we'll be able to use. Let's use these parts for some information. So if I want to give a kind of information, I will use these parts. So let me use this part. Alright. So if you have a unit like this, if you have a table like this, right? You have a table like this. So this is your mass. This is your mass M. If you don't write this mass in grams here, if you don't write this, it means you have a missing unit. You have a missing unit. So if you mistakenly write only mass like this, you not write in grams, is wrong. Or you write object this thing V. Now you do not put CL. The image distance, you not put CL. The object distance, you do not put the unit. It means that, or you write current. Current, you not write in amperes like this. All these. Then, or it is not written at all. Or instead of writing current in amperes, you put ohms like this. This is wrong unit. Current is not measured in ohms, it's measured in what? Amperes. So these are the things that will make you to lose half mark each, half mark. So if you don't do it, half mark per column, half mark per column. Units may be stated in table or graph. So you have to put the units in the table and in the graph. It's very, very important. Many students do forget to put their units in the graph, please. If this is current, I put it in amperes. Then resistance, ohms. So something like this. You draw your graph, find your slope, circle dots, something like this. So you should write the units, put it there. It's very necessary. There is no penalty for derived units. We know derived units, right? Just like when you may have, then you know something like density. Density equal to what? Mass over volume. So now this is kilogram per meter cube or gram per something like this. So this is a derived this is a derived unit. So if you don't put this unit in the tables, the information here says there is no penalty for derived units, but you need to do it. You need to derive your units and still put it is necessary as well. So if 2 or more columns have the same unit in a table, the penalty for missing unit in the 2 or more columns is a loss of half mark each. So you must put the units. So be very, very careful and put the appropriate unit. Right? So as you are studying now for the practicals, be sure of the units. This one says inconsistent decimal place, DP, attracts a loss of half mark. What is that inconsistent decimal place? I have said it before and I will have to repeat it here. Inconsistent decimal place. Right? So now when you have something like, I said it in the previous video and I will give more here. So now look at something like this. You have mass here. Let me make it bigger. Let me make it bigger so that it will be well understood like this. This is your mass in grams. This is your density, or let me say volume in this. All right. So look at this. Look at this. The cm cube rather. All right. Look at this. So if you have mass, this is 5 grams. Or let me say 50 grams. 50 grams. 50.00. 100 grams. 100.00. Here volume gives, let me say 25.5. This one says 40. Somebody writes 40 here. Then this one that is 150.00. This one is, let me just say 60. Okay, 25. Let me say 25, 15, then 10 here. If you have something like this, this one has 0.5. This one just has 15 and 10. It's wrong. So you have to complete the units like this. Like this. Like this. So let them have the same values. If this one, like this one that is 15 and 10, this one 15.00, 10.00, this is what this thing means. So don't just write 25.0 and now leave these places like 15 and 10. I've seen something like this, 25.5. I've seen a lot of things like this. Even students that I gave practicals to perform in the past did something like this. Even after instructing them, many of them still make the mistake. Please, let your units be consistent. Right? So I will still give you another one that guides the units here. Look at this one. Look at the next one now. So inconsistent decimal place attracts a loss of half mark per column up to a mark of 1 mark per table. So this is decimal place. Right? So make it consistent. This one says disregard of instruction attracts a loss of 1 mark. Instruction is very, 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 that is what I told students. The first thing you must do whenever you are given any practical, be it chemistry, physics, biology, agri science, is to check the instruction. Just follow the instruction strictly. That is your guide. Why would you do something else? You need to follow that instruction, please. Always go back to the instruction. When you perform anything, go back to the instruction. And that is also what will help you to get accurate results. When you know when you may have forgotten the instruction, go back to it, check it very well. I've seen a lot. Having given students instruction, this is how to carry out this experiment. They will do something else. After having done something else, they will bring it to me, or when I check it, I will say, why did you do it like this? Is this not the instruction? It will make them to go back and start from the beginning. So please make all efforts to follow the instruction. Very, very, very necessary. Right? So disregard of instruction attracts a loss of 1 mark. Imagine when you have disregarded the instructions and instructions, what is going to happen to the two questions? Where a candidate plots values different from the values he obtained in an experiment. Alright? Award 0 for skills. So the values you obtain from the experiment matters. So if you get something that is different from the actual values you are supposed to have, it means that you have missed it and you have failed it. Alright, so you should be very careful with your values. For 0 for skills, plotting slopes, intercepts and deductions from such graph. Any other thing, if you have gotten wrong values, it means the person has failed everything. And what will make you to get the correct values is when you follow the right instruction. Having known how to perform the experiment, you follow the instruction, you do it where you get the values. Alright, so let's look at other ones. Okay, now look at the seventh one. Quantities read from table must be recorded to at least 3 decimal places. 3 decimal places. Now, this one, here, look at what you have. This one is for that masses, when you use masses. So, you have 3 decimal places, at least. Decimal places, example, reciprocals and logs. This one is mainly on reciprocals. That was what I said in my last video. If like you have, let me say, in an experiment, you have v raised to power minus 1 or the current raised to power minus 1. The units must be like 3.200, 4.562, 7.8819, or when you use log or sine inverse, all these ones, your decimal places must be up to 3. This is very, most of the time when you use reciprocals and logs, you must have up to 3 decimal places. Must. Very, very necessary. So mind you this, if not, you are going to lose marks. When readings are repeated and any of the mean value is wrongly calculated, award mark for the mean column and deduct 1 mark from the wrong calculations. So don't make any form of wrong calculation. That is why the information, the instruction is this. After calculating, after making additions, what you are going to do, repeat. Like after adding all the values you have in the table, or this plus this, something like this plus this gives you this. Repeat and be sure. Because maybe while making additions, you may make mistakes. Instead of write 50 plus 25, you may do 50 plus 2 instead of 25. And 50 plus 2 will give you something like 52.0 instead of 75. So instead of 50 plus 25, by mistake you may just press or add 50 plus 2. See, this will give you 52 instead of what? 75.0. So be very careful. That is why after making additions and divisions on the table, still repeat to be very sure before you proceed. I have seen a lot. It's not just today. So please, let's be very careful. I want all of you to make good results, especially my subscribers and you. If you have not subscribed, please make all efforts to subscribe. And you are going to make good results if you are able to share this video. Mr. Primus promises. I will keep praying for you. Now look at this next one. If a candidate invents his or her own values, treat as gross error. A gross error is an error that gives the student 0 mark in your table, observation, graphs, deduction, everything. Gross error, everything 0. Gross error gives you what? 0 mark. Gross, everything there is gone. All right. So now I want us to also use this place to put. I want to give you some things under graph. Some things on graph now. So now let's look at graphs. For scales to be reasonable, graphs must occupy at least 1/3 of page. 1/3 of page. Let me put it here like this. If this is the whole of your graph, you need to. Some students, I've seen a lot of. Some students will just plot graph that will go like this. This is not good. So you should expand the values. Check that video. Waec physics practical guide, what you must know. Check it. I said a lot. I drew a graph. I gave instances, right? So your graph should be the one that will go like as. You look at when students have values within this that is not even up to half or within this place, and plot here. It's not supposed to. So you have to spread it, make it like wide. Use values that are wide so that when you plot your graph, it will be big enough so that your slope will be big enough. So these are the things that you should look at. Wide graph. So use your scales. Expand. Okay, we are still going to plot some graphs, bring tables and plot some graphs. In our next video, I'm going to repeat the video and then also to an extent do it better. Alright, so let's continue please. Alright, points should be plotted correctly to nearest half square on both axes. You know, half square, that is the same thing that I talked about there. Both axes, the y-axis and x-axis. To obtain the suitable line of best fit mark, at least 3 points must be correctly. 3 points, at least 3 points. At least 3 points. Right, I just cleaned the board to do this here. At least 3 points. Look at this. So if you have values like this, I've said it before, but let me repeat it here. So you have, this is your first point, second point, third point, fourth point, fifth. Let me put the fifth point here. Okay, here. Something like this. If you have something like this, you have to take the best 3. And look at this. It will not be appropriate for you to take these 3 and now leave it. It's supposed to be a straight line. Now I'm not using the graph book. I've gotten these 3. Look at these 2, they are off. So this one is not the best 3. It's not appropriate. So you need to try to balance them. Alright, so it's better to take it like this. Like this. Can you see? You have, see, this one is, see this here. So, but you have 3 like this. So get at least 3. In a situation whereby you get 2, it means something has gone wrong somewhere. 3 is average of 5. So that's why you have to get at least 3. Then you can find your slope like this. Use this big one. Change in whatever here and change in whatever here. So you get your value. So at least 3, I said it before. It's not better to use something like, you have graph like this. So don't use this. It's not better like this. Don't use this. It's better like this. Check other past questions. You see, this is the preferred way of putting it. Right? So origin is part of the point if requested or if intercept is required. See the origin here. So always take note of the origin of the graph. So if you're able to do this very well, you are going to obtain your full mark. Alright, so what I want you to do is to join us. I'm going to give you observations made from the previous practical on the questions we are expecting this year 2024. Alright, thank you very much.